Hello beautiful beings, Lilah here, and welcome to my channel for those of you that are subscribed, and welcome to those who might find me for the first time. I felt called today to share what might well be a summary of what has been going on the last few years. Since I don't need to tell you all that there is great transformation happening, there is a great collapse, but there's also the potential of a great rebirth and reset. And with the upcoming astrological main event, of which there are many this year, Saturn and Neptune moving into the first degrees of Aries, I really felt that I needed to share. So what I'm going to try and do, if you'll stay with me for the entire video, is share with you what my perspective is or has been of the last few years. This culmination point we're hitting. Those of you that are watching might watch astrological channels or other channels where they talk about the 26,000 year cycle, where everything's pointing to a fall and a rising, which is the title of this video. And I hope that you will find some solace. I hope that this video won't take you into fear, since that's not the point at all. It's really to offer you my insights, and they are my insights as a seer who has the utmost faith and belief in ourselves as multidimensional beings, since that is what I do. I'm a seer who works as a healer and a teacher. And so from my humble heart, I share with you this information, and perhaps you will also feel an energetic transmission from my soul frequency and vibration, and from the beings that I work with. I might be a human who is walking this planet, about to turn 60, but my whole life has been dedicated to spiritual seeking, to ways in which to understand who and what God is, and how I can walk a path that is closely aligned to my own soul. Firstly, what do I mean by soul? Because it's a word that is used in quite a generic way. The soul is the vehicle through which your highest expression and cosmic blueprint is delivered. The soul is delivered through your multi-dimensional vehicle or light body or soul matrix, however you want to call it. But the landing, the embodiment of the soul, which is what is my authority and what I teach, is dependent on and not limited to the opening of your multidimensional heart field, which is what I call the all-seeing eye. Since that is your true center of sight, and when I say sight, I'm not only talking intuitive sight, I'm talking spiritual sight, I'm talking galactic sight. It is the point at which we are all connected. It is the golden highway through which our purity of expression is linked, and which holds the blueprint of humanity as a peaceful, loving, harmonious entity. So having started with that, I need to go back a bit. Around 2018 or thereabouts, actually probably started for me 2015, 2016, when I left a career in IT of 24 years and was called, or rather it called me, calling into becoming a healer. It wasn't something I chased. It was something I inherently felt most of my life. In fact, as a teenager, someone finishing school, I deeply desired to become a doctor. However, some tragic personal circumstances in my family led to that not being the case, and I ended up coming to Cape Town, which is now my home. It's where my therapy room is, to study a Bachelor of Science degree in marine biology. And that led to a career in IT, and then ultimately to a move into becoming a healer around 10 years ago now. So these last 10 years have really given me an opportunity to connect more deeply through meditation. It has given me opportunities to work with clients. It has given me opportunities to really expand and connect with my soul's ancient wisdom, or remembering, if you like, and then to connect to the beings who support me. In 2020, 2021, I had a dream in which I was shown a goddess type woman who was holding a white rose and also a tome in this huge library. And at the time, because I'd taken note of my dreams for many, many years, I knew it was an important one. And so we got onto the old Google, and I found the Kabbalah through a reference to the white rose and Mary Magdalene, and connected with a teacher. And as soon as I saw the sacred Hebrew letters, they began talking to me. They literally came off the screen and started moving in my field. So that was really the beginning of a deeper understanding of the soul, of spirit, of who and what God is, of what the sacred feminine is, of what the sacred masculine is. And so I'm going to share those concepts in the context of this period in which we're living. If I go back around 2018, that was when I really felt the collapse of the hologram in which we're living. And again, all respect to our third dimensional way of life and us as humans. It is not discounting that. We are in a human body. We are asked to honor that form. So I felt this collapse of the ego matrix, the mind matrix, and really started to feel into the potential of what humanity would look like if we lived according to our soul, connected to a spiritual wisdom, a spiritual way of living, and really tapping into what it means to be human. And during the end of 2019, just feeling into what 2020 was bringing, I knew that 2020 was bringing something. I felt the enormity of it. Ironically enough, in my video, and I can share here, I was shown an oxygen mask and the concept of the plane going down on an emergency landing. And we know you're always told to put on your mask first if that ever happens. And so this was interpreted as self-care, as taking responsibility for yourself, careful of your words. What are your thoughts? What is the energy you're holding? And so during 2020 and 2021, I shared a lot of content because I really felt this drive to just let people know that it's important that you take responsibility for your energy, for your frequency, for your vibration. But at the beginning of 2021, I also felt like a spiritual ego creeping in. And I was shown it was a separating of paths. Now, an ego can be interpreted in various ways. I'll share with you what I understand and see the ego to be. It is like a cloak. It is, and I call it the cloak in my teaching. It is an identity that might have been used as a protection. It might have been used as a way of showing up in the world. It might have been used as a way of fitting in. It might also have been used in the more negative sense to push through, to power your way through things, or to hide away. It's just an identity that is taken on to survive in this world that is so not aligned to soul and spirit. So I understood that falling away, the dropping of the identities, was what many people might be going through. Now, the 2020 gave many people the opportunity to step into a spiritual awakening, if you want to use those words, to step into a truth, to step into authenticity. Because for me, the soul is truth. It is aligned to you opening your heart center to speak the truth, since the heart opens when you do speak your truth. And like a valve, the heart opening allows more of that wisdom to be delivered by the wisdom of your soul, vehicle of your soul, sorry. So there was this movement I could feel in the collective, but yet again, there was also a distraction in terms of the spiritual ego. Many people started referring to themselves as light workers, as grid workers, as starseeds. And again, please, if you do, and I have also done in the past, I'm not targeting you. It's not a judgment. It just meant that there was a beginning of another false mind reality. And that generated by maybe teachers, people you thought to be gurus, people who you enjoyed listening to, because it can also be a distraction and entertainment, the spiritual ego. And so I saw it pulling a whole lot of people away from the path of really listening deeply within, because that's the ultimate path. I can illuminate a truth, my truth. I can illuminate your truth to you in my work as a healer and seer. But ultimately, it's for you to connect into that yourself and to give yourself opportunity to do that. So I'm just checking my notes so I don't ramble. So the last 14 years then, more or less, from 2011, 2012, when there was also a nice, well, a big open gateway, right, for change, that you might have experienced some tumultuous changes in your life. You might have been fighting to survive. You might have had some very difficult things happen to you. But the aim of all that was to, like you strike a match on a box, the aim of that was to really open your heart center so that you can begin to feel who you truly are in your essence, in your core. And this video, Crying for No Reason, was something I shared before the pandemic, since I was guided to share it, as I was seeing more and more people who are coming to me saying, nothing tragic has happened, but I'm crying all the time. Now for me, the heart is the all-seeing eye. So when you're crying, you're acknowledging not only the miracle, the spiritual essence, the heartbeat of the mother, but also how you are connected to all living things. It's really that portal through which life, which I see the soul as, right? Life from the mother. It's that aliveness. So of course the heart opening causes some kind of friction that really triggers the emotions, but it's a call to wake up, essentially. Crying is a call to wake up. And so after 2021, there was a lot I was receiving. I have many books that I have written, which one day hopefully I will turn into one book and get it out there. But I was in the mountains during March of 2023 when the Pluto Aquarius shift began to happen. And I was standing in an open field and there was a major electrical storm and I was surrounded by mountains. And this lightning was booming and the thunder was booming. And I just needed to go and stand out in the field, much to the dismay of my husband, who said, why are you standing in the electrical storm? But I needed to. I needed to just pick up what exactly was being given to me, was shown to me. And I looked up in the heavens, now I'm talking about my spiritual sight, and I saw a huge dome opening. And the words dropped in, the simulation is over. The true light returns. And from that point on, moving into the war in Palestine in October 23, going on a spiritual sabbatical in France, I began receiving direct transmissions from the divine feminine principle, Mother God, the mother principle, if you like, that really indicated the soul as life from the mother, that our true nature as multidimensional energetic beings, as angelic human beings, is that we are spirit. And the feminine aspect of us is that. Right? So when we talk divine feminine, it's not about dressing up and taking on a whole label and identity. It's about understanding that that life from the void, the life from the cosmos that is unseen to our physical eyes, enfolds, encompasses us and is delivered to us if we are prepared to live according to our truth and an open heart. And so that feminine spirit, the soul, if you like, the vehicle of the soul, delivers life. And this vehicle that is our vessel with multiple points of light, you could call light body, soul matrix, is the temple, is the tree of life into which the soul aspect descends. So you might have awakened, reached up, received some insights, some feeling of your essence, but then it descends like a golden spiral. And it begins to hit aspects of you that are unreal. So as soon as it comes into the mind, you might become aware or enlightened to thoughts that are not beneficial to you. Thoughts that are negative, thoughts that are repetitive, thoughts that keep you in limited or inflated sense, because the mind field of the lower dimensional mind relates to an ego complex and a fear foundation. So if we look at the false reality, the false light that is being replaced, it is the mind, ego, fear framework. And in that framework, you cannot embody your soul. I don't want to go into the process because it's quite complicated in nature. It's what I teach in my school. So if you're interested, look at the link below. But essentially, it's about becoming more and more self-aware, change patterns that are no longer comfortable to you, make decisions that are aligned to your truth, understand what labels you fill in, you hold on to, what ego aspects, what identities you hold on to, because with this coming change, the ego mind fear complex has already collapsed. And so you are being called by all the gods, by your truest nature, to live according to your essence. You could say that as a collective, humanity has lost its soul, and that each individual person, like this big complex jigsaw puzzle, is being asked to retrieve their peace. Not give other people, say that's your peace, or take away from others because I want that peace, that's what I want to be. No, that's the mind and the ego. You need to open to receive your imprint, your blueprint, that when the cosmic stars aligned as your soul dropped into the planet and you began your life as a human being, that holds in this field the reflective stars, cosmic points that are you in your multidimensional nature. So as we move now to the major turning points, of which there are many, but I'm just going to mention the Saturn Neptune, between a Pluto Uranus kind of holding point on around the 20th of February. It doesn't mean just that day, we're already moving through it. It brings with it a powerful, fiery call to wake up. Because in my teachings, the feminine spirit, right, I've mentioned his soul, the form, any form, whatever gender identity you take on, this form is the masculine. So it's not just about what we do, and it's not just about the right or the left brain. Spirit in form is the masculine, is divine masculine. And so however you are or sense yourself to be as a soul being, we're moving into a time where you need to, or are called to, action that. But if you're going to action it, then you need to be both humble, dedicated, and committed to really, really listening. Not to the words of others. You don't even have to listen to mine. If there isn't, that's great. But to give yourself the time to honor the truths that are rising up within you. Because the whole way humanity has been set up is to deny your truth, is to squash you, is to take away your power. Now you're being asked to take back your power. Because if you look out in the world, you as a human might say, but look at what's happening, I will not be able to survive. And I will say to you that in the deepest core of my being, our survival, humanity's survival, depends on your spiritual, alchemical desire to change, to understand yourself as a being of energy and a magician that is working, or can be called to work, for the good of yourself and others. So the 2024 really might have called some of you to enter what I call the underworld. Because as the golden spiral of the soul comes in and it hits certain blockages, it might rise up again. It's not just one down and one up, right? It's a continual process. You might have hit fear, and the fear might have stopped you going down again. You might have thought, oh, well, I'm not going to change my life that much, or I don't want to do that, or I'm scared that I'll be homeless, or I'll lose my partner, or I'll lose my job. All of those things are external. All of those things, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but they are irrelevant when it comes to us talking about your soul, your spiritual calling, your soul-filled destiny. That's what's calling you. So this year and next year might find you feeling very uncomfortable, might find you facing your darkest fears. Your ego mind might tell you that this is absolutely not possible. I want you to remember that you are a spark of divinity, that you hold within you the potential for ways of being and living that have yet to be imagined. That as a multidimensional being, you are far more wise than any man-made mind, including the man-made AI. And if you want to see how I feel about that, you can watch this video above. It's not about that intelligence. It's not even about the intelligence of the mind. It's about tuning into the highest wisdom possible that is beyond even imagination, that lies in the unknown, that is the Neptune spirit creator, ultimate, infinite potential of creation, combined with the materialization, the form of Saturn, to bring about your divine masculine expression in the world. I'm going to take a sigh. The best way to work with your fears, if they are coming up, is to work with your dreams, is to find people that will help you work with your subconscious. And I'm coming to you from my therapy room in Cape Town, South Africa. I see clients, I work online, I work in person, I offer insights, I offer healing. If you feel called, if there's a resonance, then please drop me a message. I have availability, I'm here. I am excited about what's coming. I think it might be quite a catalytic year for most people, because the Sacred Heart, the Christed heart, is the sacred fire. It is within there that the ultimate, infinite, eternal flame of life burns. You hold that within you. It's time to rise. It's time to wake up. It's time to bring the air of the soul. It's time to bring spirit to that fire and really wake up within that burning flame of truth and desire to be of sacred service. To end off, I also want to say that the power of dragon energy is so apparent at the moment. I've had many images of being a dragon, flying on a dragon, and you can imagine, as a seer and healer, I have a wild imagination. Well, that's what most people call it, but that's my real life. But what I was offered was the most beautiful thing coming up to this fiery season, is that dragon's breath, the fire. Dragon's breath is the fire along which the Holy Spirit travels. And this fiery year that's coming up, the year of the fire horse, is going to offer you the opportunity to call in the wind, the spirit of your soul, to light up your heart. But it's going to be a hero's journey. It's going to need courage, and you are going to need to work through the ego identities, the mind identities, the labels, and to face that fear, because once you face it and you start moving through it, you will realize that it was never there in the first place. And with that, I'm ending this transmission, this sharing. I thank you for your time, and I send you so much love from my heart to yours. Bye for now.